Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more powerful stories like this one. The words sliced through me like shards of broken glass as I stood frozen in the hotel lobby, dressed sharply in my navy suit. "Get this beggar out," my father barked, loud enough for every guest to hear. The security guard hesitated, his hand hovering awkwardly near my arm, his face showing a flicker of discomfort. My mother's eyes darted away, deliberately avoiding mine. And my sister, Victoria, wore that same smug smirk I'd known since childhood, the one that always meant she thought she'd won. "My name is Rachel Parker. I'm 35 years old, and this is how I turned a revoked invitation into a financial revelation." The betrayal shouldn't have shocked me. I had spent years as the family's personal ATM, the successful but difficult daughter who was expected to pay for everything. Emergency repairs, luxury trips, extravagant celebrations. Each time, it was framed as me investing in family. But what they didn't realize as they celebrated in that lavish ballroom was that I had been doing exactly that. The entire event was paid for by me. The ballroom? Rented under my LLC. The champagne fountain my mother swore was absolutely necessary. Billed to my business account. Airline tickets for out-of-town relatives? Run through my corporate card. They all believed it came from my father's retirement package, a fiction he spun to uphold his image as the strong provider. The truth was harsher. All he'd received was a gold watch and a small pension that barely kept them afloat. I didn't shout. I didn't beg. Instead, I lifted my chin, gave the security guard a steady look to signal I'd leave with dignity, and walked out. My heels clicked against the marble floors, then echoed down the concrete ramp of the parking garage. By the time I reached my car, I was already planning my next move. Only when I shut the car door did my hands finally tremble as I opened my banking app. $7,200, catering, canceled. $12,000, Victoria's Maldives honeymoon flights, revoked. $4,800, mom's spa retreat, terminated. $52,000, monthly condo payments gone. By the time I got home 20 minutes later, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Calls from my parents, then Victoria, then numbers I didn't know. Finally, pounding at my front door rattled through the walls. Through the peephole, I saw Victoria's husband, Jared. His face was flushed, his shirt half untucked, his expression frantic. I slid the deadbolt quietly into place. "You need to fix this right now," he shouted, skipping any greeting. "They just canceled the food. The hotel won't release the rooms, and our honeymoon flights got voided while we were checking in." Leaning against the doorframe, I kept my voice calm. "That's strange. Maybe someone forgot to check who was actually paying for all of that." His eyes blinked rapidly as the truth sank in. You did this because they kicked you out." "No," I said evenly. "I did this because they forgot the golden rule. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, especially when that hand holds all the receipts." He tried looking past me into my apartment, searching for regret. But regret had left me long ago. Instead, I held up the folder I'd prepared years back, neatly labeled contingency. Inside were contracts showing my LLC as sole financial sponsor, cancellation clauses with my signature, and documentation of every reversal, executed within the hour they betrayed me. "I won them 3 years ago," I said softly. "If they treated me like a bank, I'd start acting like one." "You're punishing the whole family," he hissed, lowering his voice as a neighbor walked by. A slow smile touched my lips. "No, I'm protecting my investment and cutting my losses." His face darkened. "They're your parents. They called me a beggar in front of 40 people. He had no response, just turned sharply, muttering about lawyers. "But here's the truth about money. You can't outrank the person who holds the contracts, the accounts, and the backups." I shut the door, placed the folder on my office desk, and opened another labeled Inheritance Audit. Phase 2. By morning, I had 32 unread messages. Some begged, some threatened, all reeked of panic. My mother wrote, "We didn't mean it." Emotions ran high. "Can we talk?" My father sent nothing, just forwarded the venue's unpaid invoice. My cousin sent a screenshot from the family group chat I'd been excluded from years ago. "Rachel's too sensitive. She'll come crawling back. She always does." I laughed in my quiet kitchen and typed back. Just a reminder, I own the crawl space. And I've changed all the locks. Silence followed. Then came an unexpected email from Franklin, my parents' accountant. He wanted to discuss some irregularities. The beach condo, he explained, wasn't being paid from their trust fund, as they'd claimed. Instead, payments had been traced back to an unfamiliar LLC. Mine. When we spoke, I confirmed his suspicions and asked the question I'd been waiting years to pose. Did they ever declare that condo as their asset in official filings? He hesitated. They claimed it was a private inheritance gift with no documentation. So it wasn't just betrayal. It was fraud. They'd built equity with my money on a property still legally under my company's name. Franklin asked if I'd sign a declaration for tax records. Absolutely, I replied, after consulting my lawyer. And we began the process of securing every last cent, every brick, and every document they had taken for granted. Within 2 days, Tiffany, my lawyer, confirmed everything when I called. Perfect. At this point, it wasn't about family anymore. It was about fraud. The following morning, I drove to her downtown office. The sleek, modern furniture reflected her sharp, no-nonsense attitude. By midday, the documents were ready. A cease and desist for slander, misrepresentation, and misuse of funds, along with a property reassignment that stripped away any verbal claims my parents thought they had over the beach condo. Tiffany slid the paperwork across her polished desk. They'll try to bluff you. I smiled. They already did. That banquet was the bluff. The process server confirmed delivery within an hour. Just like that, the so-called family celebration turned into financial warfare. That night, a voicemail from my mother, tearful, rambling, filled with blame. You're destroying us over what? A misunderstanding. You always blow things out of proportion. Always so dramatic. Dramatic. The word parents use to silence daughters who've been covering their bills. Then came the warning. If you go through with this, people will talk. At church in the neighborhood, your father's reputation will be ruined. It was always about appearances, the facade of unity, the performance of love rather than its reality. I let the voicemail go unanswered. Something more important came the next morning. Confirmation from my accountant. The account transfer was complete. The condo title finalized. Done. Legally. Irreversibly. That condo, their prized retirement symbol and centerpiece of their social image, was no longer theirs. And those unpaid taxes? Filed with interest. Minutes later, Tiffany emailed. You've closed every door. Want to push it further? My reply was instant, yes. Full audit. Start with the family trust. I want every dollar tracked back to 2017. Because it wasn't just the insult of calling me a beggar. They had built their entire lifestyle off my earnings. Now, it was time to tally the debt. The trust audit revealed things I hadn't even imagined. $18,700 the week I graduated, labeled as emergency repairs. In reality, a kitchen renovation for Victoria. $9,000 filed under education expenses. It paid for concert tickets and a spa weekend for my mother. $34,000 diverted into my father's vintage Mustang restoration. A car he once boasted was my reward for raising responsible kids. They drained the trust dry, then dared to call me the beggar. Is this criminal? I asked Tiffany. It could be, she answered carefully, but only if you want it to be. I didn't want prison sentences. I wanted accountability. So we filed financial restitution plus trust misuse documentation. They had 30 days to respond or settle. That's when the mask cracked. A text from my mother. I'm scared, Rachel. Please don't ruin the family over money. We'll fix this. I stared at it. No apology. No ownership. Just fear. Fear, the only language they understood. My response was one line, ruin? You're confusing ruin with reveal. The next day, Victoria posted a filtered sunset on Instagram. Caption, some people only come around when there's money involved. Glad I know who my real family is. I didn't respond. Online, they could spin stories. In court, every word had to be proven. Every signature traced. Every dollar accounted for. Suddenly, the dramatic daughter became the authority they had to answer to. By day 22, Their lawyer contacted us. His tone was clipped, almost desperate. He offered a private settlement, $50,000, no admission of guilt, plus a non-disclosure. Tiffany smirked. They're trying to patch the cracks before the neighbors notice. But I didn't want money. Not really. I wanted a record. Evidence that I wasn't just the black sheep, but the scapegoat, the silent benefactor, the unpaid safety net. We declined. On day 25, my father finally broke silence. He showed up at my office, the business they once dismissed as a little side gig, but now employed 27 people across 2 states. He stood in my doorway, hat in hand, pride barely holding him together. You've made your point, he said, but you're about to ruin us. Are you proud of that? I looked at him, the same man who once announced at a family gathering that Victoria was the real success story. No, I replied calmly. I'm not proud. I'm exhausted, tired of paying for your life while being erased from your legacy. He tried to argue. I raised a hand. You called me a beggar. So I stopped giving. And suddenly, everyone remembered what I was worth. He didn't apologize. He didn't cry. He simply placed a blank, signed check on my desk. I slid it back. This was never about your money, I told him. It was about mine. Soon after, an email from the court arrived. Trust disbursement fraud. Preliminary hearing scheduled. 3 weeks later, they'd have to show up. Not to celebrate, but to answer. Word spread like a crack in a pipe, quiet at first, then flooding family group chats I'd long been excluded from. My cousin confirmed it with a text. Everyone's talking about the court date. They hadn't believed I'd go through with it. They never do. They expect silence. Shame. The cast off to keep the peace. But this time I wasn't the help. I was the witness. Tiffany and I prepared everything. Timelines, account statements, screenshots of messages where I was asked to spot them just this once. All the invisible IOUs laid bare. The night before court, Victoria messaged me for the first time since the banquet. If you go through with this, I'll never forgive you. No apology. No denial. Just a warning, as if my peace depended on her permission. I didn't respond. Some people don't want reconciliation. They want you to return to silence. On the hearing day, I walked into the sterile courtroom feeling surprisingly calm. My parents sat stiffly across the aisle, their lawyer restless. The judge asked direct questions. Tiffany answered with numbers, displaying charts of condo payments from my LLC, showing how the trust funded vacations, spa trips, cars, all disguised as family. Their lawyer objected, insisted these were informal family arrangements, just a misunderstanding. The judge wasn't moved. She looked at me. What are you seeking, Miss Parker? I stood, my voice steady. Truth on record. That's all. Let the paperwork match reality. She nodded. Granted. With that, my name was no longer a footnote in their finances. It was the headline. After the hearing, no calls, no letters, no, we didn't mean it. Just silence. The kind that falls when a performance ends and the lights go out. The ruling wasn't criminal. No handcuffs. But it was binding. Restitution ordered back into the trust. The condo's title permanently mine. My parents stripped of access to assets they never earned. Tiffany called it elegant justice. I called it balance. Weeks went by in glorious quiet. No requests. No emergencies. No, just a little help this month. Then, an envelope appeared under my door. No stamp. No return address. Inside, a photo from the family banquet. Everyone smiling under chandeliers, glasses raised. In the blurry background, me, mid-turn, mid-leaving. The exact moment they erased me. On the back, handwriting I knew instantly. Victoria's. This was the moment it all fell apart. I stared at it, then fed it to the shredder. Because what collapsed wasn't family, it was the illusion of it. An illusion built on my money, my silence, my need to belong. Once it burned away, what was left wasn't loss. It was freedom. That same day, I started a new file, the Parker Foundation, a scholarship for first-generation women paying their own way through school without family support. Seed funding? The condo sale. My condo. 6 months later, no contact from my parents or Victoria. Our relationship ended silently, permanently. Sometimes the healthiest family resolution is distance, maintained with the same consistency I once gave to financing their lives. And before you go, since you've stayed with me till the end, here's a little bonus. If you love learning and self-growth like I do, try out audiobooks. I've got an exclusive deal with Audible, your first month free, with access to over 500,000 titles. Check the description for details. You don't want to miss it.